What does it take to have a happy, healthy marriage? You got to have a lot of sex. Just kidding. That's a part of it. But today, I'm sitting here with my best friend, my wife, 23, almost 23 years. And I just want to introduce you to my better half, the woman more dear to me than my own heart's blood, my dear, sweet Alice. Say hi, Alice.
That was quite the opening.
Yes. So if you want to be happily married, just have sex. Okay. All right. So listen, who you marry is, I think, the second most important decision you will ever make in your life. After your faith in Christ, we think it's your marriage. The person you decide to marry is the second most important decision you can ever make in your life. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So we've been married almost 23 years. We met in college, college sweethearts. We got three amazing children. We have a pretty awesome life, and we still kind of like each other, right?
A little bit
A little bit. We still kind of
today.
today, just today for this video, we like each other. So
Yes, we do.
we want to give you briefly what we believe it takes to build a strong foundation in marriage. Okay. So we have a list here. We could probably talk for an hour. We've actually talked for multiple hours on each of these topics, but we're just going to give them to you as a summary and we'll go deeper in later videos. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
So, first, we think to build a strong foundation for marriage, even before you get married, I believe you need to be independent before you can be interdependent. Would you agree?
Yes.
What does that mean? What does it mean to be independent before we're interdependent? What do you think it takes to do that? Like before you get married,
You're
what do
just
you
gonna
need to
put me out there,
I'm
huh?
just gonna put you out there. What do you need to have together in your own life before you try to get married to somebody else?
Well, I think about what my parents told me in the course of raising me. You need to be able to take care of yourself. So I think you don't need to be getting into a relationship with somebody else unless you're ready and prepared to take care of your own self. So, what does that look like? Can you take care of yourself? Can you provide for yourself? Do you have a place to stay? Do you know how to manage your own matters and affairs without being codependent or dependent on someone else? So I think that's very fundamental in terms of like you will be different people and each of you will bring different things to the relationship, but it's supposed to be a complement and it's supposed to build upon something, not someone having to carry the other for whatever reason, be it financially, be it, you'll have to do things, you'll have to work out, but both of you should be bringing something to the table that benefits, I believe, the union.
So you're saying you shouldn't be sleeping on your mama couch
That's yes.
and sleeping in your car.
No.
Okay. Okay.
At minimum.
At minimum. Okay. So independence before interdependence. You need to be able to take care of yourself.
Right.
For our first session of premarital counseling, we usually get clear about what is marriage to you? What's the definition of marriage to you? Because people have different definitions and understandings
Right.
of what marriage is, right?
Right.
And some people going in thinking it's one way, the other person's coming in with a completely different understanding of what marriage is. And then you guys just decide because you had one great night that you want to spend the rest of your life together. And you get together and you find out, man, he wants to be in a polygamous relationship. And you're like, but I thought we were just going, it's just going to be
Polygamy,
us.
dear.
Well, I was just throwing out, because all of us ain't at the same place. You know? Just saying.
Hmm.
No, but you need to get clear about what marriage is. And for us, the Bible is the foundation of what marriage is. In Genesis, the Bible talks about a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one, and they shall be fruitful and multiply. And so marriage to us is this covenant between man, woman, and God,
Mm-hmm.
in which there's this cleaving, this clinging together for life and making sure that the two are compatible.
Absolutely.
You agree?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we think is important for foundation in marriage is getting clear about your vision for yourself and for your marriage,
Mm-hmm.
getting clear about your mission in the marriage and in life, your purposes, and getting clear about your roles and expectations
Mm-hmm.
in the marriage. Right? Like well, you break that down. Getting clear about roles, expectations, vision, mission, going in the same direction. Anything you would say to that?
Well, as you were talking, I was just thinking the whole like concept of being a team. You know, you're a team. It's not one against the other. And you want to, when you're a team, you have a similar goals and values and places you want to get with deadlines, and you're both working actively towards those goals. You know, and I think with you and I, what's made us work, we wanted the same things. We wanted a healthy family. We didn't want to have a lot of challenges in our home. We wanted our home to be full of love and peace and joy, and we both work to that end. You know, but sometimes those goals are, you know, financial, they're accomplishments, they're things that we want to do individually and collectively, and we both worked as a team to get there. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's being on the same page in terms of values and expectations is critical.
And one of those things with regard to expectations is like roles, right? Like who's going to
Yeah,
manage money?
true.
Who's going to cook? Who's going to clean? Who's going to take care of the yard? Who's going to
Fix the cars and stuff
fix the
around the
cars?
house.
Like just roles and
Who's going to care for the
expectations.
kids? Who's going to cook?
Who's
Excuse us.
so, excuse us while we be ourselves. Who's gonna cook? That's an area where I'm trying to grow in. And it's been 23 years and I'm still. Anyways, look, are we gonna do this right now? Are we gonna listen?
Continue. Next point.
We'll go to the next point. But roles and expectations and getting clear. Like, you know what I'm saying? If she's going into the marriage expecting you to cook, you need to know that. Because if you can't cook and she can't cook, man, ramen noodles gets old fast, and you can be sitting on that couch looking at each other, heated, like
Hungry.
hungry and with high cholesterol and blood pressure. All right. Next point is we think it's really important to learn how to communicate in a
Yeah.
healthy way and how to handle conflict in a way that's constructive. Healthy conflict resolution is really important in marriage, man,
Right.
because you're going to disagree
Yep.
a lot,
Yep.
right? And they're going to be, if you don't disagree in your marriage, someone's not being honest. Okay. I mean, you be seeing some of those punk men walking around. Okay, Mimi. Okay, whatever you say, baby. That's not healthy, man. You be seeing these people out there like, yeah, man, so what's wrong with them? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And you can't, you have to be yourself to last. You
Yeah.
know, if someone's putting on for the other, that only lasts so long. At some
Yeah.
point, you're going to want to be yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
absolutely.
It's gonna come out. So
Hmm.
healthy and conflict resolution is big. One thing when we were going through premarital counseling, Pastor Robinson taught us this. The marriage is more important than the differences and more important than the conflict. Like divorce is not an option. So going into every disagreement without even thinking like, all right, if she don't agree with me, then I'm out.
Yeah.
Like you can't go in like having the other person afraid, like you always on edge about to leave. Like, man, I'm tired of these ramen noodles, bro. Like, and that's why you go through premarital counseling too.
Right.
So you find out like they can't cook or they don't like having sex at all. And they thought they just buy you like a gang of lotion and you're like, what's this? And it just gets awkward.
Lotion.
Saying. So learning how to fight in a healthy way. How did
Absolutely.
she said we don't fight. We disagree, we discuss.
Right.
We don't necessarily argue. I think
No,
we argue a little bit,
I don't
but
think we argue.
healthy conflict resolution is huge. You got to learn to say things, say what you mean honestly without tearing the other person down and without saying some stuff that you can't take back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Because
that's
you know that, right?
because you know that. You know what I'm saying? Man, like come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want to get too
Right.
specific because we can get
That's the next
specific.
video.
And this
That's when we dive deeper.
this can go downhill real quick when you start getting specific. All right. What's the next one, sweetheart?
Money and budgeting.
Okay. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about what's why is that important?
Well, I mean, you know, money is big. You know, it drives everything in terms of like your livelihood and the type of life you're having, and it kind of touches even on your vision and expectations and values for your family. It's I know for us, we both brought different things to the table, so it's who had the better strength in terms of budgeting and paying bills on times. You let that person do that, and there were times when I was the I was working primarily, and then there were times we were both working
She was
primarily,
saving me.
and then times when he, was the main breadwinner. But it's that whole team mindset, and then budgeting. If you're trying to buy a house, if you're trying to buy a car, if stuff breaks down, what do we need to move around? Maybe we don't need to go on the vacation of a lifetime. Maybe we need to just do something local or do a road trip because our money won't allow us, to do more at that time.
Because
But
our lights are off.
right. Right. So I think, and you're constantly having them each year. Almost, we would just make adjustments for like, what are we trying to do this year? What are we trying to accomplish, and what will we sacrifice or do in order to make that happen? And we both work toward that, because when you don't, it becomes a big problem in the relationship. And money, unfortunately, I think some of our biggest issues, kind of some
Arguments.
challenges have been, sometimes regarding money. Just, how to,
Definitely.
who's earning and where did it go and who spent what. And so,
Yeah.
and I think in this, and I want to say this too, these are things you continue to work on throughout your marriage. It's not just a done, because they'll change. Your earning potential changes, what you want to do or not do changes. So it's just things, these are muscles you have to keep working throughout your marriage to keep it healthy and whole.
And so, what do you think about separate bank accounts?
Well, I know we're going to probably get in trouble for this one.
Well, just be honest.
Well, my parents were married for 62 years, and the bank account had both their names on it. And so when we got married, we went to the bank and we got an account with both our names on it, and everything has both our names on it. It was not. And I said one of the values in that, we started off together young,
Broke.
broke. Like my daddy said, all we had was love. But sometimes I felt like that was the most important
That's
thing.
all we needed.
Everything has each of our names on it, and we both work toward it. And I think there's an accountability there, there's an honesty there, and we give each other freedom too. There's things he wants, and yeah, babe, go ahead. And there's things I want, sometime I go ahead. But anything like big or super expensive, we talk about it, like maybe this is not the right time, or absolutely go. But I think it keeps you, I think it's another way in that cleaving. The money cleaves you too, when you're both, everybody, nobody has a secret account or another thing on the side. It kind of keeps you both accountable and aware of what you have and what you need to do to change that or get it better. So yeah,
Right.
we've always had both our names on everything since the beginning.
And I think I've heard you say, or somebody say, you quoted, "Why are you willing to share your body, give your body to somebody, but not share a bank account with them?"
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
we prioritize the wrong things that we're
Yeah.
sharing. Like
Yep.
I'm gonna sleep with you and give you everything in my personhood,
Spirit.
in my
Yeah.
spirit,
And body.
but this my check,
Just my checking account.
this my
Yeah.
money,
Yeah.
and
And there's
sometimes
trust too. That's a trust issue.
there's trust.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can go deeper in other videos, but
Right.
sometimes you want to surprise each other with gifts and things,
Right.
and so we have multiple accounts, but we all share. We both share
The big ones.
the big ones, right? And no one, and we usually talk about any big purchases before we make them to get the approval, or like I might want to buy something, and she's like, and I don't know what's in the accounts, and she's like, you don't buy something, and now we about to be homeless, and now we on OnlyFans, and it's just
Uh-oh.
awkward, Hey, I'm gonna get this money one way or the other. No. So anyway, budgeting is really important,
Very
right?
important.
All right. What's the next one, Mom?
In-laws.
All right. So
Family
uh,
and in-laws.
look, marriage is really a coming together of not just two people, but in every bed, in every marriage, there's multiple people. There's her set of parents, there's your set of parents. So essentially like six people in your bed. And you bring all of these values and these expectations and these reference points into your marriage. And some of us come from healthy families, some of us don't. And in our situation, Alice came from a really, really strong family, beautiful big Johnson family. And my family's kind of spread out and dysfunctional in a lot of ways. And so I didn't come into the marriage thinking that she's going to be a part of a big village. I came in thinking like I got me a wife, we good. She came into the marriage and in a lot of ways thinking I was just joining her village. And I'm like, I love you, but I ain't trying to spend all my time with the family. Like, how can we, we spent our honeymoon in Italy with her relatives. And it was a lot of tension there because I'm like, I thought it was just gonna be us, and I got relatives all around me, and I'm like, I can't even celebrate my wife and celebrate my marriage
Okay, calm
because
down.
I'm.
It's okay. We
I'm
fixed
sorry,
it.
we fixed it.
Yeah, got through that.
So I love my in-laws. I love my family. They're amazing. But you got to set some boundaries. When you get married, you leave the family. They're no
Yeah.
longer the priority, and you cleave to one another. And so that means you don't share your problems with your family,
Mhm.
with your in-laws. You don't complain about your person with them. Anything you would add to that, sweetie?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everything you said was right, and that was a challenge for me because I come from a really big close knit family, and it was an adjustment, because they were always number one, and when you get married, you have to change that. Your husband, your spouse, becomes that number one, and it takes time to transfer that allegiance in many ways. And then and both and together, you just learn to you have to talk through those things and help to understand, seek to understand each other and how it feels to them, and making the adjustments so that I think one of our compromises is like Thanksgiving was your holiday, so instead of us going to my family, we would do whatever we go to your family or do what you would want to do, but you make those adjustments over time. But absolutely, it's and then setting boundaries as it relates to the marriage is at the top, and then the other relationships have to follow. So like if anything's competing against that with your and you'll have sometimes parents or grandparents or siblings, look, did all of it and you forgot about us. And it's not, no, it's not a forgetting, it's a cleaving. It's my wife is priority one, and then if I can, I'll do these other things, because when the marriage foundation is broken, everything follows. So you have to always be mindful of that and value the relationship and not let anything, as the vow say, put it asunder, right?
Hmm.
Even mom-in-law or dad, because you'll have those moments depending on the relationships you have with your in-laws where they'll be competing for your attention at times, but you have to make the marriage the top priority.
Thank you for that. And
Yeah,
another thing is, when I got married, I realized that she wasn't just mine.
true.
She belonged to a group of people who really love her. And I had to learn to share my wife with
Yeah.
her family, and navigating those expectations was a big part of helping us make it to this point. All right. Okay. Next thing is, because I don't want this to be too long, is the most important topic,
That's, you have
sex.
alluded to the entire
Listen, and if you just
bless
want to
your
be on
heart.
the foundation of marriage is you just got to have sex,
Y'all pray
right?
for me.
No,
Pray
listen,
for me.
and pray for me too. Listen, you pray for both of us. Matter of fact, sex is such a wonderful,
Oh, it is.
beautiful
It
thing that God
absolutely
created to
is.
help us celebrate marriage, and it's not just for procreation. If you read the Song of Solomon,
Mm-hmm.
it's for pleasure as well, and it gives you a glimpse of heaven
Mm-hmm.
at its best. And you can, I don't want to get too deep, but one of my favorite verses, it says, "And they were both naked and not ashamed."
That's your favorite verse?
Bucket naked and
I don't
not
know the
ashamed. I think
bucket
it's
part.
Hebrew. I think it's Hebrew. They
And
was
the
both
Hebrew.
bucket naked and not ashamed. When sex is such a beautiful thing, and you want to be able to be naked and unashamed,
Yeah.
right? And so one of those things is just making sure you take care of yourself before marriage, and making sure you're going into it in a healthy way,
Right.
right? And talking about expectations and honestly expressing like what you expect, what you're looking forward to, even before you get married. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how often do you think you might want to have sex,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I could go on and on and on, but I want to give you a chance to say, what would you say about how much you like having sex with me, or anything related to
I
this?
love it. You're in trouble.
Okay, let's go.
I do love it. I love
I
you.
love you.
Yeah, and I love look making love with you. You're my husband. I mean, it's something that's, you're right, very important and valuable to your marriage. I think, if I have anything to share, I think it's important, particularly early in your marriage, to just be honest about your needs and your wants. Both of us, I came from a more conservative kind of background, and didn't know a whole lot, and and conversely, not that you knew a whole lot, but you knew more than me.
What you
And
saying?
no, I mean,
You
just
trying
I'm
to
just
say
thinking you were the leader. You were more advanced, right? Weren't you more advanced? I mean, but I'm just, we had to work through those things and talk through needs and wants and quantity and quality and, and that was and it was very important. And then sometimes I know even for me, and, we want to dive too deep, but like I didn't even understand sometimes how important and how much of effect it had on him until we were able to talk and I understood just how much it meant to him. Sometimes I thought he was just really okay, but he had to like let me know, like, no, I need, whatever his
I'm
needs were. I
struggling.
needed specifics, but and then he had to learn that he needed to tell me because I wasn't just going to know what was going on in his head. So I think that was really critical. Him being honest, and then too, ladies, me not being able to receive it and not like, excuse me, like in an attitude or like talking through these things, because if you don't, they fester on both sides, either resentment or going astray. So you have to be brutally honest with each other. Like, I like this, I don't like this. This is what I need. This is what you need. Okay, what are we going to do to fix it? And I think that is so critical. I think that's been so critical for us. Raw honesty and just like being honest with each other about what our needs were. And both working in our own ways to help and achieve it for the both of us.
Yeah.
And I think we're okay now.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah.
23 years,
Yeah.
man, and it's still good. Like it's
Jenny, you okay, y'all?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying sex. I like making love and celebrating
I
marriage with
do
my
too.
wife and
With
seeing it
you.
seeing it as an opportunity to play together and enjoy each other and not always going
Amen.
in with all this pressure like, bro, I got 18 pumps in me and I'm done.
Manny.
No, I'm just saying like, no, stop take the pressure off, man. Like you come in and just be honest and enjoy each other and ask and learn each other's
Absolutely.
bodies and it's really like the Garden of Eden. All
Hmm.
right, the last one is, and we can go on and on on that last topic if you want. We could like go few hours if you want. But last one is children.
Yeah.
Children is the next big thing you need to get clarity on and agreement on with regard to marriage, right?
Hmm.
So, what would you say just about what should people be thinking about when it comes to children and their marriage?
Sure. Well, first, sometimes that's what you want to start off strong. So
Yeah.
you want to have a friendship, you want to have a mutual respect, you want to have a mutual like understanding or an expectation of what your family is, what you want it to be, because children are like a one-way street. Once you once they're here, they're not going anywhere. And I think it's naive to not realize that when they come, they change everything, because you literally have a human being that's like fully dependent on you in every way. Like, they won't eat, they won't behave, they can't change. Like, you have to do literally everything for them when they come out. So if you're already rocky or not getting along or fighting, a child only makes that even more challenging. So I think some people think when you have a child, it'll bring you closer together. I think sometimes, quite honestly, it makes it harder, at least early on. I mean, and the Bible even tells us children are a gift from God, and they
Yeah.
absolutely are. But they're a lot of work too, and it's a lot of work that you have to go through in order to receive and prepare those gifts from Him. So I think, first of all, I don't think you should. I don't even think you should start having children until you're very solid in your relationship and your bond together and your expectations of what that means. Who's going to care for the kids? Are you going to stay at home? Are you going to go to daycare? How are we going to handle discipline? How are we going to handle what do you envision for our family? Will we go on trips? Will they stay at home? Will you have a nanny? Will you? I mean, all these things. How will we have timeouts, or will there be spankings, or will there? How do you envision your family? And then this is the crazy part that nobody tells you about either. The kids they'll all be different, and they'll all have different needs and different expectations. Some will cry, some will be like, will never need you, some will be very needy. Like, you don't know what you got until it comes. And this is what you taught me, and I'll say this and shut up. As the adult, you have to make the adjustment for the child. You're the one that's responsible. You're the one who can control your emotions and make adjustments. The kid can't. So you can't get mad at the kid when they're crying and pooping on themselves in the middle of a very serious moment. They're doing what kids do. So you need to be sure before you even run down that street that we're good. Like,
Yes.
when we're on the
That
same
marriage is
page,
good.
we both want this. And we'll be real. Sometimes in marriage they may come sooner than you would have liked, but
Yeah.
you gotta both be working towards that goal. We love this child, it's our child. What can we both do individually to make sure we stay together? Because your marriage helps that child more than anything else.
That's right.
A healthy, loving marriage shapes and affects that child's longevity, confidence, well-being more than anything else.
Yeah.
So you guys have to sit down and work through what that is for your relationship. But I think part of the blessing of children is the journey of it.
Oh man.
You know, from them pooping
Man.
on themselves to them, doing well in a class. It's like you experience life all over again through each of them. It's such a joy.
Yeah, just seeing them come into the world and
Yeah.
their first breath, their
Oh,
first laugh, their first hug, their first
yeah.
kiss, like their first step, their
Mm,
first time being able to read, those first time, like all of the firsts
everything.
is just awesome. And then the last are super emotional. Like, man, it's the last time we're gonna be able to see this, or the last time, So we're going through that right now a little bit with our children. But children are so wonderful.
They are.
But it's important to make sure you are clear that your marriage is more important than your relationship with your children. Like
Absolutely.
you start there. A lot of people put the children over the marriage,
Hmm.
and one person gets left behind or left out and feels resentful and then starts seeking affection outside of the marriage.
And early on, sometimes you have to put the children, when they're little, you do have to.
Oh, absolutely.
Those 1 through 3, you
Yeah.
just grit and bear it and keep coming home,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And communicating though and still making
Right.
time to help, like especially for the woman. I think it's
Mm,
as a mother, like you feel like the baby is absolutely dependent on you because of the need for breastfeeding or
mhm.
milk or like and
And they
so
want you, mama.
they need you. So
Yeah.
her identity shifted. Mine did too as a
Yeah, it
dad, but
did.
as women, I think it affected you in a greater, more extreme way.
Yeah.
And I felt like sometimes I lost my wife.
Mm,
And I'm like, don't forget about me because I used to, those used to be mine. You know what I mean? Now I'm sharing these with my children. And I'm like, what about me? You know what I mean? But we worked through that
we
and
did.
we learned to make sure our marriage was the priority because the best thing we can give them is a healthy marriage. And so the reason we share this is these are things you should be talking about before
Hmm.
you get married. Before you get committed to somebody, make sure you're on the same page on these big things
Yeah.
because many divorces happen because there are differences in these areas that we've touched on: the selfishness, the pride, the money, the
The
children,
family, in
the
laws.
family. And we didn't even get into religion. We're presupposing that you share the same religion. People from different religions have gotten married and have had happy marriages, but we've also seen that when there are inter-religious relationships, for them to work, usually one person has to have a nominal faith because the other person is more committed. I've seen that happen several times. We think we should be equally yoked. Marrying somebody who shares your faith, shares your convictions,
Hmm.
shares your views about God, about religion, about church, about attendance, about things like that. Because without that common
Hmm.
core, without that common foundation in Christ, with that common faith, you
There's
can
even
go,
more
oh my
challenges,
goodness,
even more
right.
confusion, even more.
So
Yeah.
these are just some of the things that we've talked about that we think are important. Be independent before you're interdependent.
Hmm.
Be clear about what your understanding of marriage is and make sure it's rooted in the word. Number three, make sure you're on the same page with regard to vision, mission, roles, and expectations. Make sure you are learning how to communicate in a healthy way, handle conflict in a healthy way, and money management and budgeting. Next one is in laws, sex, talk, and intimacy, and then children. Work through these things, and these things will be recurring issues in your marriage, right?
Hmm.
And that you evolve and you grow in your understanding in all these areas. But we think when you are on one accord in these areas, man, it can create a beautiful, flourishing, we call a bubble, Scott family bubble. Like there's Manny and Alice World. When we dated, we had Manny and Alice World, and it was a magical place. It's like the Garden of Eden when we got married, man. It's like, go to church, go home, get naked. And anyways,
Just naked.
and not ashamed. Listen, because we are happy. But then we were ready to share this love with our children, with someone else, and so we gave birth to these children, and
Hmm.
they're a part of this bubble, the Scott family bubble, because this foundation has been so solid, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So, if this video has helped you, added value to your life, we want to encourage you to watch some other videos on our channel. We're going to be sharing a lot over throughout the weeks on YouTube. We're going to be sharing on marriage, family, dating, And all of these things we'll probably go deeper on. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and look around. Look at some of these other videos, and we'll see you soon on the next video. All right, take care. Have an amazing day, and
Bye.
and that's my beautiful wife right there. I love you, Alice
I
Scott.
love you too, dear.
All right, we out. You know what
Bye.
we about to go do? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, peace.